where we discuss duos in fictional media. I'm your host, Cassie Gabriel.
And I'm Maddie Nees. In this episode, we're going to talk about the duo Akito Shinonome and Toya Aoyagi.
Let's jump in now. You might be wondering, who exactly are we talking about? Well, Akito and Toya are characters from a rhythm game called Project Sekai. They have known each other since Akito encountered Toya singing by himself and have been friends ever since.
They both have a passion for music. They started off known as Bad Dogs as duo singers. Akito and Toya joined the street music band called Vivid Bad Squad, alongside two other people named An Shiraishi and the leader Kohane Azusawa, and who they all desire to surpass Rad Weekend.
I think we should go more in detail on their story. Maddie, they had an interesting time together before officially becoming a group with Vivid Bad Squad.
You're right, Cassie. Let's jump into their story.
So, Maddie, what happens between them?
In the main story, Toya starts doubting his path on street music and debates on whether he truly wishes to continue singing alongside Akito. Before Akito and Toya had originally met, Toya's father had forced him to play piano and violin without a word. His father forced Toya to prioritize classical music over socializing and personal interests, resulting in him being isolated socially. Influenced by his father, he questions the significance of street music.
During one of An and Kohane's shows, the lights suddenly cut out, leaving everyone confused, essentially being sabotaged to make them give up. Yet they do not. Once Toya had noticed the motivation and passion An and Kohane had for surpassing Rad Weekend, he feels disheartened and leads into believing that Akito deserved a better singing partner that wasn't him.
After that show, Kohane and An confront both Akito and Toya about what happened earlier. Akito lies and takes the blame, which then right after Toya tells Akito he's going to quit singing alongside him, stating that he's the one that has a weak resolve and holding Akito back, Akito gets upset and angry, punching Toya out of anger.
The next day, An and Kohane figure out what happened with Akito and Toya and decide to help them get back together. They ask what happened between them, met with a response that surprises them. Kohane mentions that he always looks like he's having fun singing with Akito, which makes him baffled. An then mentions how it's hard to tell what Toya's feeling, considering he constantly has a stoic expression, but when he's around Akito, she can tell that he's always having fun with them.
An, Kohane, and Toya all go to Weekend Garage, a cafe, which they are met by An's dad, Ken. Ken asks Toya about Akito as he mentions he heard about them disbanding. Toya mentions how Akito was his first ever friend and introduced him on how to enjoy music again, even after everything he went through between him and his father. He then says Akito always has his eyes set on something and never gives up until he achieves it, and says he's the one holding him back.
Suddenly, Akito runs in as he reveals that Ken was on the phone with Akito the entire time while he was talking. Toya expects Akito to be disappointed, yet Akito tells him the reason he was even able to chase his dream of surpassing Rad Weekend was solely because Toya was always by his side and knew he believed in him. Toya and Akito become singing partners once more and join in with An and Kohane, forming Vivid Bad Squad.
Why did we pick them for this episode?
Maddie, what do you like about Akito and Toya?
I like that they had a major amount of conflict, but they never gave up on each other, and they solved it like a day after.
Yeah. Okay. That's really nice, Maddie. Well, I like their partnership and how even though they had a big misunderstanding with each other, they still made up with each other and practically connected from the beginning. Even though Toya misunderstood his feelings and gave up on himself for a day, Akito never gave up on Toya.
I agree with you.
Maddie, what's your what do you think of Akitoya now? How they're progressing in the stories and events?
I think they're doing pretty well. I mean, they formed such a strong bond with each other and An and Kohane. I mean, I don't think anybody could break that.
Yeah, exactly. With Akito and Toya, it's I know it's like Vivid Bad Squad's two duos put together, they join up. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, they still have the good duo bonds with all of each other, all of them as a collective whole, whether it be with their partner or not. Mm-hmm. And I also like how in one of the stories Toya he tries composing, right?
Yeah.
And even though he's more of the classical music because of his father, and then even though he was learning to compose, Akito and An believed in him and stuff.
Yeah. I also hate how Toya's father was so set on him becoming like him. I mean, you should let your child be like what they like. I mean, you don't have to degrade them over street music or something. Like if they like street music, that's okay, because everybody likes what they like, and you just support it.
Yeah, and then in the news story with Toya's Focus, I was just finding how weird it was that his father was like, oh yeah, I just didn't like street music because some street musicians back in my day insulted my classical music. That's so I don't know, that's just not stupid, but it's
yeah, you can like classical music, but you don't have to make your entire family have to do it. I just think that just setting your son up for something he doesn't like is setting up someone for failure.
Yeah, because even though and plus he even started when he was 3 years old, so he's been playing since he was 3, and he was forced to do that for until when he was 15, 14.
Yeah,
that's insane. That's 12 years of being forced to do something you don't even like, and then yeah. That wraps up this episode of Duos in Fiction. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on Akito and Toya. Of course, thanks to all of you for tuning in.
We'd love to hear from you if you enjoyed today's show. You connect with us on social media, letting us know your thoughts, questions, or topics for future episodes.
Until next time, right on, right on, right on, right on, and this is Cassie signing off.
心をなりファイ狂気の侍
Welcome to Duos in Fiction, where we discuss duos in fictional media. I'm your host, Maddie Neese.
And I'm Cassie Gabriel. In this episode, we are going to talk about the duo Reki Kion and Longa Hasegawa.
Let's jump in now.
You may be wondering, who are we even talking about? Well, Reki and Longa are two skaters from the anime called Skate the Infinity. Reki is a high schooler who works at a skateboard shop and loves skateboarding. Longa is a half Japanese, half Canadian snowboarder who lost his dad when he was young.
Longa is a recent transfer student from Canada as his mother needed the comfort of her hometown after Longa's dad had died. They both meet after school when Reki's skateboard goes out of control and skates right by as Reki yells out to Longa to stop that skateboard.
Maddie, I think we should start skating into their story. They've had such interesting experience ever since they had met each other.
You're right, Cassie. Let's skate infinitely together.
After Reki and Longa had met each other, they started hanging out with each other constantly, basically attached to the hip as Reki introduces him into skateboarding. Longa mentions he's looking for a well-paid job as Reki's manager. Oka says he could deliver a skateboard to the skateboarding place called S, or Crazy Rock, since he couldn't do it tonight, nor could Reki as he had a broken arm.
As it turned nighttime, Reki grabs the skateboard they needed to deliver and they drive to S. There's a bunch of people chattering all around them as the gates open and everyone enters. The person who had ordered the skateboard gets it, which then turns out to be Reki's jacked up skateboard that got burnt beforehand.
The guy gets angry about the skateboard, demanding to know what had happened to the board as Reki is in a state of shock. Longa, without anyone knowing, has an interest in the said jack-up skateboard. While they were arguing, Reki asks for the scissors in the toolbox, yet is met with Longa duct taping himself to the board. Reki starts worrying, saying that duct taping himself would be bad in a situation where he needed a bail.
Longa states he'll simply skate against Shadow, the opponent, as Reki was injured. Reki gets pulled into the crowd by a few guards and both Longa and Shadow take their positions. The light turns green, and as it signals the race has started. The Shadow gets a head start while Longa remembers he cannot skate with both of his feet on the board, crouching and scooting himself forward and friendly starting.
Mid-race, Longa realizes the feeling he has while skating is the same way he felt while snowboarding. He starts catching up and getting ahead of Shadow. They then get to a rusty building with stairs and bridges, different from the original grounding from outside. Longa finds a quicker way and ends up winning, while in Reki's POV describes his jump from the quicker way, snowflakes falling right here in Okinawa.
Reki then starts to help Longa learn how to skateboard. Longa figures out the basics and masters an ollie within just 2 weeks. Reki then starts to help Longa learn how to skateboard. Longa figures out the basics and masters an ollie within just 2 weeks, which Reki is proud of him for. They then meet another character named Mia Chinen, who is a Japanese national hopeful for skateboarding, challenging Longa to a beef, which means race.
Longa then wins that beef. We are then introduced to Adam, who is the main antagonist of this story. Reki challenges him to a beef, which ultimately ends up with Reki with another broken arm after healing and bandages surrounding his head. During that time, he realizes how much Longa's improved more than he has, which makes him envious.
Longa goes against Adam, which ends up with the police investigating S. Reki notices how much better Longa was at skateboarding than he was, even though he was the one teaching Longa. As people start to realize Longa's potential, while others call Reki the red one that clings to him, making him jealous, envious, and frustrated all at the same time. He then starts overworking himself so he could reach Longa's level.
Reki eventually gives up and goes home in the rain, where he is met by Longa as he says that he was looking all over for him. Reki tries to avoid him, yet gets stopped by him as he says it was just a race against Adam, simply saying that competing against someone was so good was exhilarating. Reki retorts, saying that he was a monster.
For a few days, Reki avoids Longa, and if Longa attempts to talk to him, he ends up being less talkative around him and everyone around him. Longa was still skating in Adam's tournament, while Reki simply stayed at home all by himself, which Longa was so worried about why he was being ignored.
On the day Longa goes up against Kojiro, he decides to come, yet he doesn't make himself known to Longa. While skating, Longa loses his passion to skate and ends up way in the back with Kojiro way ahead. Reki notices this and finally makes himself known to him, yelling his name, which gives back Longa's passion to continue skating against Kojiro as he eventually wins.
They finally resolve this the next week at a skate park. As they skate out their feelings, Longa purposely bumps into Reki, which makes them both fall onto the ground. Longa laughing like he did back then when he was snowboarding with his father.
Longa says that he wants to skate infinitely with him, as Reki agrees and states that they'll never stop again. At the final race for the tournament, Longa goes up against Adam again. However, Adam attempts to kill both him and Longa, yet it ultimately fails in the end as Longa wins the race.
Yay! Cassie, what do you like about Reki and Longa's dynamic?
What I like about them is that even though they went through such tough times, they still had each other's back and were always there for each other, even during their conflict with each other. Their dynamic is nice, and I really love how complex it is, even if it seems simple on the surface.
That's really nice, Cassie.
What do you like about them, Maddie? I'd like to hear your opinions on them.
I really like how Reki helped Longa learn how to skateboard when he saw potential in Longa when he first went against Shadow.
I found it weird how Adam tried putting them against each other and manipulated both of them and some other people at the same time. Like, okay, buddy.
You're not cool, Adam.
Adam's just so weird. Like, not only did he try to he did manipulate both of them at the same time, but Longa didn't even realize it because he was also in a state of depression because his dad was dead.
Yeah, his dad died. You don't need to manipulate someone who is going through a really tough time, and I know how it feels to lose someone. It's
exactly.
terrible.
I also know how it feels like to lose someone, and plus Adam was using his depression against him, so he would think that hey, maybe the way I feel about snowboarding is the way I feel going against skating with Adam. Then he realizes, wait, no, my passion comes from Reki because Reki's the one who introduced him from skating in the first place. When Kadu helped Longa skate against Adam and stuff, giving him tips and how his love hug would work, is really good.
That's so stupid.
Exactly.
I hate how he says it too.
Exactly. And then, dude, episode 9 made me so sick because when he freaking hit Sherry with Kadu with the skateboard, I was okay, let's go to the outro.
No, but I was really mad about that. You've known each other since high school.
Exactly.
What the freak was that smack for?
Exactly.
Anyway, that wraps up this episode of JoJo's in Fiction. We hope you enjoyed our discussion on Reki and Longa. Of course, thanks to all of you for tuning in.
We'd love to hear from you if you enjoyed today's show. You can connect with us on social media, letting us know your thoughts, questions, or topics for future episodes.
Until next time, continue skating infinitely, and this is Maddie signing off.